Hi, just doing one of my videos. Um, I was actually talking about the first time I smoked weed, but as I was talking about in my other video, something very more important I feel like came up. And I will make the disclaimer once again. Currently, right now, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't take Advil, I don't do any of that. I drink my water, I study, I take care of my girls. And I try and take care of myself, like exercise and stuff like that. But I haven't been doing that as much as I would like because I try to balance everything. But yeah, so I don't do anything right now. I don't smoke weed. I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't drink alcohol. Sometimes I have grape juice, and I'm like, I'm just kidding. But no. So that disclaimer. But I'll probably post that video too. But I felt as I was getting into that video and I started getting emotional about what I was talking about, maybe just talk about this more because I'm sure I'm not the only person who has been in this situation. So I think what led to my dependency, I'll say dependency, they say that weed is not addictive, but the way I used it, it was an addiction. Um, so that sophomore year, I tried weed for the first time with my brothers and my aunt. And I had a really bad, not bad experience, but scary, I would say, experience with smoking weed for the first time. I had an out of body experience, and it really scared me because I was like, I felt like I was there, but then I was above whatever scenario. The scenario was me and my brothers and my aunt in a car with styrofoam cups of cheap vodka. Ugh. They were like, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. This is the first time, mind you, so like, probably should just try the weed. But anyway, so, excuse me. So, yeah, we were in the car. It was like fall time, so it was a little bit cool air. And it was at night because we had to wait till the adults were asleep, right? And so we were out there smoking weed. And yeah, I was in the car with them, but I was also above. That makes sense. So I felt like I could see the whole of Cleveland almost like as a map. And I could see like the golden white city lights against the darkness of the night. It was really interesting, but it's not for me, whatever that was. I mean, we could speculate, but I really don't want to make the video about this. So, um, not for me, unless God was like, Josiah, use this as a gift for the kingdom of heaven or something like that. Because in that scenario, if God was like, yes, you can use this spiritual gift or whatever, I would be like, okay, because I know God will protect me, right? But just doing it because it's not for me. Not for me, whatever it was, okay? I don't know why I went to after that, but because like that was like during a fall break. So when I got back to campus, I found someone that smoked weed, and that's how it started. And then like able to find more people, like, and then I found a friend that was a very close friend for a long time, and we smoked weed all the time together. And we would like sometimes we would buy food first, and then and then we had fun. What can I say? But anyway, um, and then like we sometimes we would make our special ramen, we call it. It just we had good times, I guess. But yeah, but it became a dependency because um, I felt like there were so many things I didn't deal with. So like going back to day one, I have struggled with abandonment wounds. And these abandonment wounds started with my dad. Um, my dad struggled with drug addiction and alcoholism before he ever had kids. This is, I believe, started in his teenage years. He even explained a story, and there's a picture of it too. I've seen the picture of this little boy who was my dad. Um, for his ninth birthday, they let him get passed out drunk, and they took a picture of it as if it was something good. So my dad, and that's why I've always been able to empathize with him about it, because it's like you explained your story, but at the same time, and me empathizing with him, I didn't empathize with myself, and I didn't deal with those wounds that his actions, because anytime I tried to, it would trigger him into being kind of ruthless emotionally, right? So you just learn to be okay, you got it, you childhood trauma, dad, yeah. But anyway, so because of that, he was popcorn throughout my childhood, here and there, kind of thing, and we knew why. Around age like 7, you figure it out, you know. So anyway, that day they drove me to Anderson, Indiana. It's a very awkward drive, very awkward drive, because my parents had talked about separation and divorce. And so the whole time, 5-hour drive, the car was silent. My dad played this weird music that he never played before. This blues music. My woman done left me. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. She ain't coming back no more. Stuff like that. Like random blues music. Like for the first time ever. That around us. He played it. It was just like so awkward. The air was heavy. The environment was heavy. Okay. And then at the time, my youngest brother, who's adopted, but that has nothing to do with that. I just say because he looks, there's a clear difference between all of us, but he's a sweet kid. But at the time, he was like a baby, and he like blew out his diaper, and there was no change of clothes. So it's kind of embarrassing because my roommate was there, and she looked like typical. I don't know. I don't want to say what I'm thinking. But she looked like more higher class than I did. I always felt the weight of poverty, and I feel like people could always look at me and see I'm in poverty. So I was always insecure about that, right? She didn't look like that to me. So anyway, here's my baby brother, like in a big T-shirt. Like we don't have clothes for him. It was just the energy was just so negative. And then the parents were supposed to stay for a couple of days. They had parent orientations and things like that, but not my parents. They dropped me off, stayed for like maybe 30 minutes, and then they left. And on top of that, before that, because of the whole separation and divorce, my dad, I guess that was my dad's excuse. He gave me a budget. And this is me going to college, I'm sorry. I'm not being shaky. It is emotional. He gave me a budget. Now this budget that he gave me, before I say the number, it was supposed to take care of school supplies, dormitory supplies, getting my hair done, because I wanted to get locks back then, but after I graduated, I was supposed to get my hair done. I was supposed to get my hair locked up, okay? And it was supposed to also account for clothes. He gave me $80 for all of that. Get my hair done, dormitory supplies, college supplies, school supplies, and clothes. How was $80 going to cover all of that? And he had more money to give me. He did. So it was like my parents were preoccupied with what they had going on to be happy for me or involved in me going to school. So that day came where to drive me up. They didn't stay. They didn't have much stay. It was a very awkward day, and then they left. And I felt, pretty scared and alone. I'd never been a person to feel comfortable around strangers. And, but also I was excited for a new start, a new beginning. So I tried to be focusing on that instead of focusing on my problems. It's a new beginning. I was focusing on that. But in focusing on that, I was never able to process it. And I was never able to process my abandonment wounds with my dad because every time I would try and bring it up, it was triggering for him. And it became about him and about, you know, how he chose drugs and alcohol over his children time and time again. Yeah. I feel like I was still carrying the weight of that trauma with me. And yeah. Also, why I'm saying this is something I just was thinking about the other day. I believe when it comes to people like me who use food as comfort. That's what I did since I was a child. I used food as comforting. As a kid, I would have these bad stomach aches. I had these really bad stomach aches, and they would come randomly. And I remember one time I was just coming out of the shower, and I was like 9, I believe, and I had this bad stomach ache, and I ran to my room and I squeezed my stomach, and it was so comforting, squeezing my fat belly. It was so comforting. Yeah, and I believe trauma is held in by our where we're overweight. That's where trauma is held. So when you lose weight and stuff like that, you're releasing that trauma. And so that's why I want to get back on my, not my BS, Janae Acko. Back up on my, anyway, I like that song. Back on track with, not just like to lose weight, but just overall self-care journey, right? But yeah, we hold trauma in our body. We do, especially when it comes to years of accumulated overeating. So when we release that, we're releasing that trauma, and it feels good. Just for your information, I guess. Yeah, so I was never able to process it, and even the relationship that I had with my dad, how, like I said, it seemed like I could never do it. I could never get things right with him. I could never earn his acceptance, his full acceptance, or love. Yeah. There was one time, this is random, but we were at my grandma and grandpa's house, and I was an adult because I was married at that time. So Edwin was there too. My dad happened to be there. It was an awkward stage before my dad got remarried to his now wife. Okay. And so he was there hanging out, and I think he was still kind of interested in getting back with my mom for the third time. But anyway, but he was there, and we were looking at pictures, and I had never seen a picture of me as a kid, as a baby, I mean. I don't remember, in terms of memory, I don't remember anything before 4 years old, okay? Now, it was a picture of him holding me as a baby. I was surprised. First of all, I was bald. I looked like a boy. I did. I was surprised about that. But anyways, but when he saw the picture, it was a baby, right? Me as a baby. When you see a picture of a baby, like, oh, cute. Yeah, and especially if you're the dad. His reaction, though, was, oh my gosh, who's that young, handsome guy? I don't think he can help it. Like, he only saw himself, literally. He only saw himself. He was that young, handsome guy. I was like, wow. I didn't even mean to say anything out loud because after so many arguments with your dad, that just is like, you don't want to trigger an argument, you know? But it kind of came out of me. I was like, wow, you didn't even say anything about the baby, your daughter in the picture. He was like, oh, well, yeah, whatever. uh, but yeah, so um, that's the one thing I'm going to tell my daughters. Before they do any big venture like that, just as we're living, right, as we're growing, even now, like, I want them to be able to process things. I can see the disappointment with their dad and stuff like that. And I want them to know it's okay to feel that kind of way, you know? But anyway, I don't want to get too much into that because, yeah. But we got to process our emotions. We have to, because it will subconsciously affect our lives negatively. And it did with me. It did with me. I'm talking about my experiences personally. And the more we're able to process our trauma, our hurt and pain, the more available we can be there to help our children process these things. If you don't have children, you could be an aunt or you could be an uncle, you know? And if you're working on your trauma and healing from it, first of all, you'll be a safe individual. That's first and foremost. Mom and dads too. If we're healing or processing our trauma, we will be more safe. Our nervous system will be more able to regulate in a more healthy way. I will tell you the truth. Before I had did some healing work, but nothing like what I've done now. I will tell you the truth. When my kids were younger, my nervous system was not as healed as it is now. And I still have some healing to do. But I would get so easily triggered by stressful situations like tantrums and things like that. And it would be the feeling. Even like I would feel out of control, and it was really uncomfortable feeling. And I would have to like walk away for a second to calm down, right? Or switch off with, at the time, my husband to get a break, you know? Because my nervous system is wrecked due to years of trauma from my childhood. And I feel I've seen this, especially in single parent homes too. So I'm so grateful, like, God showed me in different stages where I need to work on myself, right? And I've talked about these different things before, but the more I worked on myself, the more I worked through my trauma, the more I was able to be patient with my daughters. And it's a beautiful feeling that my daughters could be triggered, in a sense, still triggering, right? Because, like, who likes to hear screaming? Nobody. But it's not like, it's not like I'm freaking out, right? It's like, okay, here we go. Take some deep breaths, work with me, and you're able to be calm. And that, depending on how deep the tantrum is or how angry they are about apparently not getting juice, happened recently. Yeah, I was just crying because I wanted juice, Mom, like, after everything. I'm like, girl, what are you doing? My children, like, anyway, you did all of that because you wanted juice. Okay. But anyway, so being able to work through it with them and not feeling out of control, right? Being in there to help them, lead by example, to show them how to work through your emotions, how to regulate yourself and your nervous system. And so it's a blessing. I'm so grateful that I'm able to do that in a more better, effective way. I am so grateful. God only knows. God only knows. Even when I'm angry, right? I used to have anger problems that I do believe was traced back to my trauma as well, but no excuses, really. And I've talked about this before, how my anger led to me to put my hands on my uh, husband at the time, my ex. Um, yeah, he showed a lack of care or interest in our first anniversary. And I've since come to the realization that he had married me for papers, not because he loved me, not because he saw me as a good investment, but because, like life partner investment, but because he saw me as a means to an end. It took me a long time to process that because I just wanted to fill my head with the illusion that he loved me, but he never did. He never did. He never did. Um, but that first anniversary, I was unwilling to come to that realization. And so I got angry because I feel the reason at the root cause of why I got so angry that he was showing a lack of care. And our first anniversary was because, you know, his heart wasn't in it. I refused to accept that. And so I just was like, why is he doing this? And it just irritated me because I wasn't able to feed that illusion that he loved me. You know, like any other couple in the world who's genuine, obviously, the first anniversary is going to be like memorable. But for him, he just wanted to drink with his friends over. It was no celebration of the anniversary, that is. But he did have hangout time, you know. And I was drinking this drink that I really shouldn't have been drinking. It was really strong and disgusting. Remy Martin. I had like not even that much of it, honestly. But I did ingest a lot of ruminating on the anger. I ruminated that whole evening. And I just kept getting more angry. And on top of that, we were playing this video game that I do love, Mortal Kombat. And I can't remember her character, but I always pick my favorite character. It's the ninja girl. Like she had this cute pink outfit and I think a purple one. And she would like bite the skull. That was like one of my favorite moves. But anyway, yeah. I remember shouting out, and I was like gone at this point, like pretty tipsy, I would say. I remember as I was playing the game, I was screaming out, and this is gonna happen tonight. Like, why would I say that? You know, why would I take that on, that energy on? And yeah, and like I remember it from my memory, I had blacked out partially, but what I remember is like, since he closed the door to the last guest, I like punched him or slapped him. Either way, terrible. And then I kept going. I kept going with it, you know. I was angry. I was so angry. I just let my anger take over. And there's scripture that talks about the rage of man does not produce the righteousness of God. And like I said, this was our first anniversary. This was before we had any kids. And I believe it was that God had to show me where I need to heal. That was like one of the biggest first steps was healing my anger, my self-control of my anger. And up until then, it had been like a gradual thing. Like it would be an argument, it would be upset feeling, and I would like slap him, one time, and then like stuff like that, or drive out or leave and drive. This is just so, just drama, But yeah, but that was a really bad night, and um, he actually cried. That's what snapped me out of it. When I heard him crying, I kind of snapped out of it or whatever I was in, and I realized what happened. It was like crazy. Like it was like what happened was like I was hitting him, and then he pushed me, not hard, but I fell and I broke the table. It was a glass table we had, and then I heard him crying. I got up, and that's when I realized what happened. His eye was like pink and droopy after that. So we had a wedding to go to, but I was like, I don't want to go to the wedding. And he was really upset about that. He was like, we said we're going to go. I'm like, you can go, yeah. But he wanted to go together. And he explained a story about someone else, one of his other friends, Nigerian friends, that had experienced like this, and how the guy ripped the marriage license in front of the woman. And I said, yeah, it makes sense. If you want to do that, that will make a lot of sense. I didn't understand why he wanted to be with me still at that point. I mean, I get now. Maybe he saw it as a sacrifice for means to end, but in the moment, I took it as he really loves me and he forgives me. But even though he did hold it over, he held it over my head for so long till I finally was like, fuck it. Excuse my language, but I said fuck it, because he kept saying like, I didn't tell my family about this, and then like, and I did not put my hands back on him after that, because I said, God, I need your help. God, I need your help to help me with my anger. I cannot let this happen again. I cannot, and I will not. And God helped me. I wish I had more things to tell you, like different steps, but it was me talking to God. That was the step I took. And asking, genuinely being sorrowful for what I did. And it was like a few months after that, I got pregnant with my first child. God is like, you're going to have to take care of this before you have God was like, you're going to have to take care of this before you have any of my children. Oh, glory to God. I'm really glad that I did. Because I would never want to be that kind of parent who, because of whatever trauma I have, I allow it to hurt my children and further the trauma, you know. Anyway, we have to deal with our trauma because it really does affect us in different ways if we allow it to. As I was saying before, he held it over my head for so many years. It happened in 2017. The Mortal Kombat incident is what I call it. And he held it over till 2022, to where I was like, I'm going to tell your mom myself. He didn't believe me. But when he was at work, I video called her on WhatsApp, and I explained the situation. I haven't talked to her in a long time, and I'm not talking to any of my in-laws because I'm going through divorce and separation. And I really distanced myself from many people, actually, because I felt I just felt like it was time, right? I felt like what I thought people who cared about me actually didn't like me, and the more time went, it was evident that they didn't like me. From what we used to laugh together and have a good time to people can't even smile at me, like I never knew there was hostility there till I could see it, and I could not deny it any longer. And especially with the situation I was in with my ex being incarcerated and stuff, was like I guess people were waiting. It felt like people were just waiting to see me crash, crumble, and fall and not get back up. Although some things in my life did come apart, I believe it freed me to focus on other things, which is what I'm doing. But anyway, I don't want to talk about me like that. I want to talk about healing trauma. So I had, back to what I was saying, I'm sorry. It's late, you know. But anyway, yeah, he kept holding it over my head, the Mortal Kombat incident, the Mortal Kombat night. Although it was many years ago. Like I said, it happened in 2017, and he was still talking about it in 2022. What I thought he forgave me, he did not. He did not forgive me, or he wouldn't have kept doing that and threatening me. And so I was like, forget it. You're not going to keep holding this over my head. And I called his mom up on WhatsApp, and I told her. She, I don't know if she was genuine or not, but it's what I needed to hear in the moment. In the moment, she said, it was very, in the moment, it was very encouraging. Like I said, I don't know how genuine it was because of what I know now, but, you know. In the moment, though, she had told me, Jessiah, I love you. I love your children. I love Edwin. I love you two together. She doesn't sound like that. It's been a long time since I heard her voice. I love you. I love Edwin. I love your children. I love you two together. But anyway, so yeah, it was very encouraging in the moment. And I told Edwin what she said, and he was like, what? So he was like, did you tell her that my eye was pink and I was drooping? And like, he wanted her to go off on me or something. And I was expecting the worst, to be honest, because Edwin had always, I try not to say people's names, but anyway, he'd always had connections with his exes that really hurt. And I won't go into that, it's not about that. But I was expecting for his mom to be like, you see, this woman is better. I won't say her name. Edwin should just be with this person, is what I was expecting. I was expecting something like that. But she was like, I love you. I love your children. I love Edwin. I love you two together. And in the moment, that was refreshing to hear. Yes. So we have to work through our trauma because it really can turn us into a monster. I was a monster that night. I'm not going to front. I'm not going to try and sugarcoat it. I was a monster, no matter what. Even if I was drugged by some chance, there's a big chance. Anyway, even if something like that happened, I know what I was doing on my end. I was ruminating on my anger, on how he rather spend time drinking with his friends than having a romantic evening with me. I was angry, upset, and hurt that I couldn't be that loved woman that I desired to be from a man that loved me. I was hurt. And yeah, we had to heal from our trauma. I feel like in marriage is where you see a lot of what trauma and issues you have are hiding. That's what happened with me. I never had anger like that before. For real. Like, I had never had a moment like that before. I slapped my older brother one time. He was being kind of a jerk though, but should I have done that? No. But yeah, like, it's in the marriage where the hidden bones in your closet, I guess, I don't know, come out. You can't hide. But anyway, not that I was not trying to hide that about me, by the way. Like I said, it never showed its face like that before. But it just exposed it. Marriage exposed that for me. And I feel like God really wanted me to get that together before he blessed me with children. And I wish, like I said, I could give you step by step, but the only step that I took was acknowledging I had a problem. First off, this is a problem, Jessiah. You cannot keep doing this. God, I know this is wrong. Please help me never to be like this ever again and put my hands on your another living soul. So that's what I did. And he helped me. He helped me, and he can help you too. Any issue, alcoholism, drug addiction, anger, self-control, overeating even. All of these things, not all of those things. I did not struggle with all of those things. I'm not alcoholic. I've never been. Okay. But anyway, whatever it is, you can call on him and ask him, and he will come to your aid. He will help you. You just have to acknowledge first there's an issue. You have to be real with yourself. And you can't. It is good to have genuine people around you too when it comes to wanting to better yourself. That's obviously important. But anyway, it's been a long time. It's been a long video. And I hope this helped you. It helps me to talk about it. Every time it's like, especially the idea of like, if my words are able to help other people work through different things in their life and their healing journey, that always makes my heart sing and smile. So I hope this helps. We got to work through our trauma. It helps us be better versions of ourselves, better moms, dads, people, employees, teachers, everything, Much love, and I hope you have a blessed night or morning or evening or afternoon.